Hi, and thank you so much for joining me. And in today's video, I am joining the YouTube hop Hello Autumn, which has been organised by my friend Miranda Webber, and she just wants us to scrap about anything autumn related as we start to transition into the autumn season. So I've chosen some photos from a holiday that my husband and myself took back in 2015 to Boston, and we went round the area and we went up Cape Cod to Provincetown. And that's where these photos were taken. We just had a night there. It was out of season, so very quiet, but it was just gorgeous seeing all of the pumpkins and things around and about. They were just transitioning from autumn to Christmas in that area, but they still had the pumpkins out, so it was fab. So I've chosen four 4x4 photos, which is going to be the main focus of the layout, just of the hotel we stayed in. And I wanted to use some scraps to create some hexagons. So you can see to the left hand side I've got my hexagon dies that I've taken out, and on the right are all the papers that I've chosen from my scraps. Just some pinky orangey tones, greens and golds. I think these work really well with the photos. And then I'm using the dies to draw around because I'm too lazy, quite frankly, to get my die cutting machine out and cut the papers down to size. And this is a great tip if you haven't got a die cutting machine. A lot of the shapes that you find on dies you can actually just draw around and cut out, so you don't really need the die cutting machine necessarily. So I've just whizzed through that, cutting out of the hexagons because I didn't want to bore you with that, and now I'm just checking the positioning of them before I start to stick them down. And I'm going to stick them down as a mat so that I can then remove everything and add some mixed media. So I'm going to use my Distress Oxide inks to do that, but just having a little faff, just checking that I'm happy with the positioning, and then I'm going in with my Nouveau Deluxe adhesive to glue everything down. So while I'm doing that, please do, when you get a chance, go and look in the description box down below where you'll see all the other YouTubers linked with their videos who are joining in on this hop, and I'd love it if you go and have a look at theirs and give them some love. I shall be having a look later on and watching some of the videos over the coming days. And yeah, it would be great if you could. Also, if you enjoy watching my channel, I'd love it if you would subscribe and give me a like. It really does help me no end when I see the numbers ticking up of people subscribing to me. It's lovely to know that I'm just not talking to myself. So I'll leave you watching me glue everything down. And now that's all stuck down, I'm going to flip the photos over, just check with my T-ruler that they are all square. I wanted them offset like that, but I still want to make sure that they're straight on the layout and not higgledy-piggledy. So using my T-ruler just to check that it's all straight, and then I'm going to use my trusty foam pads to stick those all down, and used a lot so that I can raise them up on top of the layout there. So just checking the positioning, and then I'm going to add some tissue paper underneath the photos just to add a slight photo mat without it being too obvious. So fresh piece of tissue, just cutting that out, and then I'll glue that onto the foam pads that I've got underneath the photos. So now I'm happy with the positioning. I'm going in with my pencil to draw just underneath the photo mats so that I can remove them and add the mixed media. But I don't want to use mixed media where I don't need to, so adding a pencil line so that I've got that outline of everything is the perfect way to do it. So outlining both the hexagons and also the photo mat there. Just adding the last couple of lines now. And for the mixed media, to start with, I'm going to go in with the dried marigold distress oxide from Tim Holtz, and using a blender I'm just going to add like a halo all the way around the edge. If you've watched my videos, you will have seen me doing this before. I love the glow it gives behind your photo map when you do this. And you'll see that I start with the dauber underneath where the photo mat will go, because there's always more ink at the beginning, and then blend it out to the edges. So although it looks like there are lots of harsh dauber marks on there, they're all hidden by the mats, so that's fine. Now just checking that I'm happy with this before I go in with my next thing. So now I'm going to pull out some stencils because I wanted to add some subtle stenciling in green, and I'm going to use my favourite bundled sage for this because it's just a nice subtle green, nothing too in your face. I settle on this leaf stencil. I think it's from Carter Bella Gather, I can't remember now, but it's a nice like a vine leaf, and using a finger dauber, which we do sell in Hey Little Magpie, I'm just going to pick out some of the individual vines and add some of those around the edges here. And now those leafy vines have been added, I'm pulling in the Heidi Swap Sun Chaser stencil, the dots, and the tea dye ink, and just adding a few dots here and there, again just to add a bit more texture and dimension to this mixed media around the edge of the mats. And in true Sarah style, now that I've got all that positioned and I like the look of it, I decide that I really should have distressed the edges of these hexagons. So I'm just using my Tim Holtz edge distresser to go around the edges of the clusters that I've built, and then I'll use my fingernail just to get the edges of the bits where they're glued together already. Would have been much easier if I'd done this before gluing them, but there you go. Never make life simple for myself. So everything's glued down with my trusty Nuvo Deluxe adhesive, and I've used my T-ruler just to make sure that everything's straight. And now I've pulled out some really old Jelly Bean Soup alphabet stickers to write the title, and the title is just going to be the name of the hotel and where it is. So I start with these grey letters to do the name of the hotel, and then I put the town in the craft colour. And once that's down, I'm going to start going through all my bits and pieces in my drawer. I've just leftovers from previous collections. I start with this Halloween sticker sheet and pull out a couple of the pumpkins from that. They're the only things that are really autumn appropriate on there. The others are a bit too Halloweeny. Then a scenic route, very old sticker sheet from Scenic Route with some yellow labels on. So I use a couple of those as accent layers underneath the photos. I love doing that, it just brings a pop of colour and breaks up the colours on the hexagons a little bit. Next is My Mind's Eye, very old My Mind's Eye word sticker sheet, and I find a phrase that says the best day ever, which I'm absolutely sick of seeing on scrapbooking things, because you can't have hundreds of best days ever in my mind, but I just cut off the word ever and have it as the best day, which is more appropriate. Now these are some old My Mind's Eye die cuts, and I find this scallop border, which I like the look of, to tuck down the left hand side there. I have to spend a little bit of time pulling out these holes, which is a bit annoying, but it gets done soon. Once that's in place, I find a date sticker on another My Mind's Eye sticker sheet. So I'll add that and then use my date stamp to add the date. And as you can see, this is a great way of building a layout from just little bits and pieces that you've got laying around. The papers are all just ends of ranges, and these stickers are all just in a drawer. Some newer things that have been added, like these Elise Studio puffy hearts, and some older bits and pieces. But just clustering and adding, and it really is a great way to use things up. So adding a little camera sticker from the Elise Studio puffy stickers, and then I can't remember which sticker sheet I go to next. Oh yes, a very old Studio Calico one, and just a little word saying here, and that finishes the bottom of that scalloped edge perfectly. And then this orange one with almost like a sunburst on it, just a symbol I think, and that looks nice just there. And we're very nearly done, so I'm going to go in with some splatters, first of all using the Distress Oxide in tea dye to add some splatters, and then I'll go in with my Heidi Swap Colour Shine in gold, and add some gold splatters, and that's the layout done. So thank you so very much for joining me. I do hope, as I say, that you'll look in the description box and have a look at some of my fellow YouTubers to see what they've been up to for this autumn hop, and I'll see you again tomorrow in my next video. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye.